Hello, everybody. Well, the second round has begun. The Atlanta Hawks lost to the Boston Celtics, and the Sixers will see the Boston Celtics in the second round. This is a series that I have to say it's going to be a tough one. I'm glad I was wrong. Brooklyn and Sixers series. I'm glad they swept them since knowing that Joel Embiid got hurt in Game 3, and so that gave them some time to the team to get rest, Joe to get rest his knee. James Harden rest his Achilles. Now, in the words of PJ Tucker, this is when the playoff begins. This series is pretty much going to be a defining series for James Harden, Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers for this year. Sixers had a good season, good regular season. They did well. And now we have to see, can we get past the second round? And when I talk about this, I'm going to talk about this preview. I'm going to break it down into not to teams, but specific people. And so the first person that I want to talk about is Joel Embiid. For the Sixers, this series is going to hinge on Joel Embiid's health. Joe already has a bad leg from getting injured during the Brooklyn series. So he's having issues with his knee. He's going to have to wear a knee brace. That's going to cut down some of his mobility. And I'm not sure what the Celtics are going to do. Are they going to put a person like Al Horford, put him in space, do pick and rolls, make him use, see how mobile he is on that knee because he is going to wear a brace? How that's going to change different ways in terms of him scoring, since he'll be at the foul line. How would it stop his mobility in terms of driving to the lane and stuff like that? Will it impact his jump shot? We really don't know. So we're just pretty much going to play by ear, and I'm expecting rust in Game 1 since they've been off for so long. And Game 1 can go two ways. It can go where the team that's resting are very rested and energized and able to take advantage of the team that just had a long series. Or it can be a situation where they're fighting rust and the other team, since they've had a long series, is still in the groove of playing. We'll see on Monday how this goes in terms of the Sixers, how it will look after this long rest. As for Joel Embiid, he's going to have to play. He's probably going to play a lot of minutes. He's also going to have to rebound. He's going to have to make his presence known on offense and defense. He's going to have to score, I'm going to say between 25 and 30. I doubt Boston is going to double team as much as Brooklyn did. But I kind of doubt that. I know they're going to double team. I just doubt they double team at the rate that Brooklyn did. The way Brooklyn was double teaming Embiid was crazy. So we're just going to see how this goes, and he's going to have to rebound, and he's really going to have to be a force on the offense and defense. And I'm just worried in terms of his health, because the last thing I would want for him to sit there and blow his knee out, and then we're back in that again. We're already in a situation where he's hurt again in the playoffs. As for James Harden is hurt, so he's still going with his Achilles. He's having issues with that. I'm not sure how that's impacting him in terms of shooting layups. He was getting to the lane, and during the Brooklyn series, he just wasn't able to convert layups. He missed a lot of layups. The amount of layups that James Harden was missing was pretty crazy. He shot well from three. He controlled the offense with the starters and also the bench players. He controlled it well. He got people in spaces where they can score and stuff like that. Boston is a different team because they have perimeter players that can switch. Marcus Smart. You have, then there's Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon. You have all these players that they can sit there and switch, and there's not that much of a drop off in terms of defense, whereas in Brooklyn, you can sit and switch and you can hunt for mismatches, whether it's Dinwiddie, whether it's Curry, to get away from Bridges. With Boston, you really can't do that. It's not that much of a drop off in terms of defense. So they're long, they're tall, they're long, they're fast, and it gives players like James Harden some issues. When it comes to James Harden, I'm up in the air. We're not going to get Houston James Harden. There are certain moments where during the Brooklyn series, you tried to see Houston James Harden, and it flamed out. He get to the lane, and he was just missing layups. The one thing I hope he doesn't get into the habit of trying to fight for a foul or try to get a foul, and he doesn't get it, and he throws his arms up, and then he's not going back on defense. There were a few times during the Brooklyn series he did that, and it annoyed me. So I just need James Harden to play the way that he did during the Brooklyn series, just hoping that he make some more layups. In terms of the schedule is going to be tighter, and I'm not sure how it's going to impact his health and impact Joel Embiid's health. At this time of the year, though, everybody is going through nicks and pains and stuff like that. So we'll just sit back and see how this goes. And so Tobias Harris. I love the way Tobias Harris played in the Brooklyn series. He scored. He got rebounds. he didn't score in the first half and you didn't see him in the second half, he made his presence felt. He really rebounded, and that's something during this season, during the series, that's going to have to come to the forefront. The Sixers in that past number of years have been a bad rebounding team. So Joe is going to have to rebound. Harris is going to have to rebound. They're both going to have to average double figures in rebounding in order to make it competitive. If the Sixers are playing good defense and Boston are getting offensive rebounds, that's more possessions, that's more cracks at the defense, and it's wearing the players out on defense. Tobias was good from the three. He was good driving. He was good from three. He was good in the mid-range. He was very decisive. That's the one thing I like with Tobias. When Tobias is decisive and just not dribbling and trying to figure out what he's going to do and just know, okay, I'm driving to the hole or I'm going to post up. He's more dangerous that way. I think he can have a good series. Hopefully, and this is where it comes with the Doc. Sometimes I think it's good if they actually run plays for him or run plays for Maxey to help them get a rhythm. Where if it's just Joel and B, get the other players rolling, Joe and Harden are going to get their stuff off. But if you get the other players rolling, it makes it easier later in the game for Joe and Harden, because now they're in a groove and they can sit there and convert on points. Whereas if Joe and Harden are just getting their stuff off later in the game, now you're depending on people who really didn't get a rhythm of the game to try to sit there and convert. Tyrese Maxey struggles against Boston. Boston is long. You have Marcus Smart at 6'4". You have Derek White at 6'4". You have Jaylen Brown at 6'6", and you have Jason Tatum at 6'8". They're long, they're tall, they're quick, and they have long arms. And when you're switching, there's really, Maxey is not a big guy. So that height and that length gives him problems. Boston is one of the teams that really give Maxey the biggest problems because of what I've just mentioned. And so it's going to be very important for him to be able to just stay aggressive. He's going to have to stay aggressive, whether it's driving to the lane, whether it's shooting threes, because Maxey has shown that he can be a reliable three-point shooter. I just don't want Maxey to get into those situations where he feels though his shot is not going. He'll sit there and just retreat and then start playing passive. This is a situation where he can't play passive. The Sixers are a better team and a more dangerous team when he's aggressive. It's just now they have to figure out letting him be aggressive and at the same time not taking away from Tobias. That's been the biggest mystery when it comes to the Sixers, of trying to figure out. It worked in the Brooklyn. It was working in the Brooklyn series, and also it worked in the Brooklyn series. With that said, also Joel Embiid wasn't in one of those streaks where he was just making everything. So we'll see how this goes. It's very important to Maxey be aggressive. He has to continuously put pressure on them and just make us, again, all of them. The starting five is just going to have to make their presence known. Even PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is going to do the dirty work, grab the rebounds, play the defense, set up the screens, take the charges, keep everybody in line. The one thing that the Sixers missed since Jimmy Butler was gone, they missed that person who are able to sit there and grab everybody and be like, look, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Joel Embiid is not that guy. Joel Embiid, yes, he's a great player and he scores and he's dominant. In terms of that rah-rah guy to sit there and just be like, look, I need y'all to dig in. I need you to sit there and do this. I need you to sit there and do that. Joel Embiid is not that guy, because sometimes he can get wrapped up in his emotions. That's why he got into the situation when he kicked Clax. He got into his emotion. Nothing wrong with getting into your emotions. It's just bad when you're kicking a person and you're in a situation where you could be suspended. And because of that, it can be a detriment to the team. Now, the bench. I'm going to put this all in one. Melton, Paul Reed, George Niang, and Daniels. All these players off the bench are really important. When Joel Embiid is on the bench, it's very important that either they try to win the time that they're on the floor or at least keep it at 0. They can't get into a situation where either they lose a lead or the lead gets wider. Now, that's easier said than done when you have Malcolm Brogdon coming off the bench and you have Derek White coming off the bench, who's having a very good playoffs so far. He was giving Atlanta fits. He's giving them all the work that they wanted. And you're also going to have Robert Williams coming off the bench. I think they may start Robert Williams to go against Embiid. If that's not the case, though, it's going to hinge on Paul Reed to be that spark, to make sure that he's bored and playing defense, doing switches. The one thing about the bench unit, you're able to do switches because of the athleticism of Paul Reed and Daniels, and James Harden is at the helm. And sometimes Maxey is out there. If we get into trouble, then you may see shake. You may say Daniel House. We'll see how that goes, but at this moment in time, it's very important that that the bench really try to play at a standstill with the bench of the Celtics. Because what has hurt the Sixers, it hasn't really been the starters. Yes, you had the game when Jason Tatum scored that last winning shot, that bucket. It's been a Blake Griffin, been Derek White. It's been a Malcolm Brogdon. It's been someone unsung that you're not expecting to sit there and have a good game. To be honest, Jason Tatum has actually been struggling against the Sixers. The Sixers has really done a good job against Jason Tatum. It's Jaylen Brown that they've had issues with. And the Sixers starting 5 and Brooklyn starting 5, I think they can cancel, not Brooklyn. The Celtics starting 5 can cancel each other out. It's when the bench comes into play, that's when it gets a little shaky. The Celtics are a very deep team. And it's really going to be important in what the Sixers do when it comes to the bench, how they play. Because the game can be won or lost by the bench players of what they do and what they don't do. As for coaching, I would love to say this is a matchup for Doc. I don't know. Sometimes Doc get into these little fits that I don't understand. One thing I would just like to see Doc do, though, I would like to see him, the changes that he made in the Brooklyn series, I would like to see him do also those same changes in this Boston Celtics series. The one thing that has killed the Sixers is the three-point shot. The three-point shot from Boston has buried the Sixers, especially in the first game. The Sixers are bigger than the Celtics. The Sixers can be able to take advantage, especially with Joel Embiid, depending on how they play and stuff like this. I just need to see that Doc making the necessary moves to be able to show the team, not show the team, pretty much show that he's engaged and he's pretty much trying to put the players in the position of success. I think he did good in the Brooklyn series. I hope that carries on, and we'll just see on Monday. As for my prediction, I really don't know, because as a Sixer fan, I want to see the Sixers win. I also know they're in a situation that they're an underdog. I do believe the Sixers can win, and I think the Sixers can win in 7. Certain things have to be able to fall their way. I do believe, though, whoever gets past this series is going to the finals. That's why, for me, this series is so nerve-wracking, because these teams are going to beat each other up. I like to say the Sixers in 7. If Boston wins, I won't be surprised. I do think the Sixers can win in 7, though. I would be surprised if this series don't go 7. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe, click that bell. I'm going to put out more content, and I just so happened the first 3 videos I put out, I went to Vegas, and I was in a situation to be able to record and upload stuff. So I'll start uploading more stuff, and as this series progresses, talk about this series and probably talk about other series. So yeah, y'all, I'm out.